Clive Antony, welcome to the Marketing for Business podcast.
Thanks, mate. Good to finally be here.
Mate, I've been chasing you down and to have this conversation. Look, you're the founding partner of Antony Mates.
Yeah.
You know, I've also got it on pretty good authority because I was there. You're a pretty good karaoke singer as well.
Oh, no. I thought that might come up. I was like, oh, crap, how long is that going to take? That's literally 5 seconds.
Yeah. Sam said to me at the start, he said, make sure he invites us to some more karaoke.
Well, mate, I think we stormed your one, wasn't it? Just something like that. I think we gate crashed the digital influence party.
Yeah.
It was cool. It's good to hang out.
It was good. Hey, so I read on LinkedIn, and I thought it was really cool. Look, you're into creative, you're into marketing, and really helping move the needle for businesses. But there's something that was on LinkedIn I thought was really, really cool. And it said the best marketing strategy ever is care by Gary Vee. Why have you got that on your LinkedIn?
Yeah, funny, man. It was probably way back. So when I was first sort of getting into Antony Mates, and kind of LinkedIn was the place that I really want to start growing my personal brand. I think it was kind of at that time where people were going, LinkedIn's not a CV, but it's a really good way to reflect your values.
Yeah.
And it was that 2015, 16 hype where Gary Vee was probably at his highest on
True.
on Facebook, not even YouTube, but back then it was Facebook. And then he said that in one of his interviews, and I thought that's something I really resonated with. I think fundamentally when it comes down to, business, but also just in general, I think the only way we progress forward as a society and as people is actually just to care, genuinely care about what other people want to do, their ambitions. And in a marketing context, if you apply that lens to what you're trying to advertise or the message that you're trying to convey, that's fundamentally going to be something that resonates with people. And I've always kept that in the back of my mind of, if you put people at the heart of what you're trying to do first, you're probably going to get the outcome that's desired.
Yeah, totally. Because if you don't have to worry about the rest of it if you just care enough, right?
100%. Yeah.
And one of the philosophies I live by is if you just help enough people get what they want first, you'll always get what you want, right? And that's about caring in advance of them ever giving you any money.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the big things from Gary Vee, and then people that I learned from is give value in advance and really care about their outcomes. I think one of the greatest litmus tests for that is could you bring on a client and make them money before they ever give you any money.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real cool way to think about stuff, right? And Gary Vee's good like that. But I thought it was cool that you had it because there's lots of marketing out there at the moment, and we're going to talk about AI as we're in here. It kind of shows that maybe people aren't caring as much anymore about things, and you can kind of see it playing out. But I'm interested to talk to you about that. Hey, look, I want to go back because you've done a lot, but where did it start for you?
Where did it all start? It started, It started in, probably if I go right way back to where, when I was studying, I didn't study marketing or anything like that. I was a law student, dropped out of law school.
Oh, wow.
Did about 3 years in, so really committed to trying to make it work, but came to that realization it kind of wasn't for me. Fundamentally come down to, I remember doing, essays and stuff at uni and sitting down with my buddies, and they're all writing away. And I just couldn't think in the same way that my law student friends could. And it wasn't coming natural to me, and I found that frustrating. And so I guess someone like myself, when you're getting frustrated, your mind tends to deviate to other things that actually keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
And the way that kind of panned out was I had a couple of part-time jobs at the time. I was working at Huffer as a store manager. And then after finishing that, I worked as a sales rep for Cola.
Oh, wow.
So traveling around Christchurch, selling drinks to cafes, and got that kind of sales experience from them. But fundamentally, I learned about the social enterprise business model.
Nice.
And how you could have that triple bottom line. You do good things. You can make a good product and have a fair price, and actually everyone kind of wins.
Yeah, true.
And that kind of led me to, and the reason why it's relevant, that's kind of led me to my first sort of business side hustle, which was a clothing label.
Oh, nice.
Called Malu. So basically, it was a streetwear for men and for women. But we partnered with a factory in Kolkata in India that only employed women to elevate them out of the sex trade of Kolkata.
Oh, wow.
So really, really cool connection for me to go back to my roots and really start.
So that was your brand?
That was my brand.
Nice.
Yep. Started it with a friend of mine, and also she's now my wife, Meg, which is really cool. So that's kind of together. But the reason why that's important to marketing is because we, didn't have a budget. This was pre-Canva. This was
Oh, wow.
pre all that. That's why Gary Vee was relevant to me at the time.
All the stuff is easier now.
I know, right? And I had an iPhone, and that was probably about it.
Yeah.
And then obviously needed to make content.
Yeah.
And so at the time, Facebook and Instagram was pretty big for us. And just by nature of, I realized pretty quickly the clothing business, the fashion business is very much a brand content business.
Totally.
So you need content.
Yep. Yep.
Couldn't afford content, had to make it. So sort of by force became a bit of a hobby videographer, hobby photographer, started doing photo shoots and stuff like that, and started to realize I really enjoyed that creative process.
Yeah.
Certainly had the self-awareness, know I had my limitations of what type of content I could achieve.
Yeah.
But that's where I really cut my teeth. But I also really enjoyed the digital marketing side of things as well. I found that to be inherently logical and strategic in the same way that my law buddies were finding law natural. I started to find, I guess, the fundamentals of marketing quite naturally.
That's cool.
Without studying it, which was really cool. And basically got to the point where the university found out about what I was doing, and they made me one of the poster students for the UC Me campaign in 2017. And that's kind of where I got exposed to, I guess, the big wide world of advertising and creative. I literally, just down the road here, I got my first ever photo shoot done. And then I was on a billboard on the Christchurch City Airport.
Brilliant.
Did a radio ad for UC and started to just be exposed to that advertising world. And then got to sort of halfway through that year, and the UC's marketing coordinator was going on maternity leave, and I happened to be at the right place at the right time, and UC asked if I knew anyone that could be their marketing coordinator. And I kind of just stuck my hand up and said I'd do it.
True.
So I ended up working for
opportunities.
100%. Like, just took it in front of me and ended up working for them for 3 months, which was a really, really cool experience. After that, I had to do an internship to finish my master's in business, and I ended up working as an intern at one of the media buying agencies in town. So the reason why that's all important is because within that 7-month period, I'd gone from being talent for the University of Canterbury, then working in-house on the campaign, and then going agency side on that campaign. 7 months, 3 facets of what's considered a big campaign.
True.
Best learning ever, man.
I was going to say, like, that's a degree in itself pretty quickly, right?
Big time. And the big part of that was just actually just taking those opportunities when they come your way. So anyway, I got in 2017, was sitting down in a marketing meeting at the university, and someone kind of said an offhand comment of, oh, we think video is going to be a bit of a big deal. Can someone do some research? And we need a bit of a strategy. So I start my hand up. At this point, I'm finishing my internship. I'm not employed by the university, but just happened to be there. And kind of said, hey.
When was this?
This was, this must have been August 2017.
Oh, yeah? Sweet.
And said, look, I've got an idea. Can I pitch it? And basically, the idea was to create a whole bunch of video content about the different student experiences at UC. And use that as a core part of content for the UC Me campaign. So without really knowing what I was doing, I kind of pitched an idea, which was essentially to create 120 videos in 8 months. Pitched that to UC, and through a bit of a process, won the contract.
What was the reason behind creating so much content in a period of time?
It comes back to that authenticity piece. So as a real proud member of alumni of the University of Canterbury, the one thing I loved about it was the network and, I guess, the cool opportunities that we got. And the difference with the University of Canterbury and other universities at the time is we had a big clubs society, sort of culture. So I was involved in musical theatre, I was involved with hockey, all sorts of different hobbies I had in my life. I could find my people there.
Nice.
And so I thought the best thing to do was actually to share those stories. If you're a 17-year-old kid at high school, which was me, who loved the theatre, thought he wanted to be an actor, but didn't realize there was a hobby outlet for him to do that while studying. If I knew that about UC when I was 17, I would have gone there straight away.
So this is interesting from a business owner's perspective, because if you start to look at all your different target markets, which you guys were doing, that's why you needed so much content, because no point having that conversation to someone who's looking for sports and you're showing them all about the arts, so creating that content each for each specific persona was really, really important. And video is just a way to do it because everyone is,
Yeah.
you know, the iPhone by then had been out for 10 years.
Yeah.
It was created in 2007, and ads starting to ramp in and content. So most people had one of those devices,
Yeah.
you know, so content was meeting them where they were as well.
100%. And with digital marketing, the ability to target people and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
you know, kudos to UC back then actually realized we need a diverse content strategy.
Yeah.
I think back then a lot of, not just universities, but a lot of brands were just still focusing on their one TVC.
Yeah. Trying to get that to do all the heavy lifting.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And don't get me wrong, like, you know, at Antony Mates to this day, we are massive believers in the wider content mix. You've got to have your brand campaign,
Yeah,
but you've got to have all the other bits that come in underneath it.
Yeah.
And so it was exactly that. For example, we had students from different sort of cultural backgrounds, but also different interest backgrounds, different obviously it's studying different things. And so you kind of had to have about 120 videos to share those unique stories.
Because the best part about that too, unique stories get shared around.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're into something, if you're into the theatre and you know friends that are into theatre, you're going to share those around, right? And that's the cool thing about it. They're not going to share a generic, well, they might share a generic video, but not as much as if the video is speaking to me.
Yeah.
You know, feel like I've found my place. And I think that's the idea around good quality content. You know, when you're speaking to people like that, it's, well, this place is for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and then exactly that. And again, kudos to university, and something that I think all businesses need to probably have that courage in the first step is to actually realize, you know, as a marketing team or as a business owner, you know, we all come from different world experiences. So that doesn't necessarily mean that we can relate to the customers that we're trying to sell to.
No.
And so, you know, the marketing team at UC at the time were kind of in their mid-30s, mid-40s and their 50s. And so me being in my mid-20s at the time, they really accepted the advice effectively that I was giving them.
It's awesome that they listened, and
straight up.
And let you have
so
it go,
important,
right? Yeah.
So important. Like,
Because the other way is doing it how everyone else was doing it, you know? Flip side to that now, though, UC is probably one of the busiest and most sought after universities in the country, right?
Big time. So we worked on that campaign. So that was kind of the start for me. So landed that contract. Kind of was a bit cheeky and told them I had a business when I didn't. So I had to sign one up that night and make a business card and website.
So many people I've interviewed on this channel, on this podcast, have done that, right?
It's got to take the opportunity.
You got to back yourself, right?
Big time.
Yeah, yeah. And look, if you don't, who's going to? You know? And that's so good to hear. What did you learn about creating content early on that you kind of started to go, oh, this is how it's done?
Yeah.
You know? And if you can relate that to maybe a business today.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that, I guess these principles are still true with content. You've got to be authentic, and authentic can mean a whole bunch of things. And that means really deciding where in the funnel does that content fit? Does it fit at the top of the funnel? And if that's the case, is your brand something that needs to be really polished?
Yep.
And if it's a polished piece of content, great. But then you have the self-awareness to know that actually it doesn't need to be polished.
Yep.
So for example, again, coming back to the UC piece, we knew that the stories that we're making didn't need to be on crazy Sony FX6 cameras and other bits and pieces. It could be a bit more run and gun.
Yeah.
So by nature of that, it just helped it be more authentic.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we can move at pace.
Yep. And that's because where people were consuming the content, right? They're going to be consuming it online. They're going to be seeing it. They're going to be, probably at the bus stop, maybe on the bus, and go, because people are thinking about where they're going to go. So understanding where people are on their buying journey, or they're, becoming relevant, right? I always say consistency of message plus frequency reach to become relevant, turning up so you are relevant to them, and knowing that you don't need to use that equipment because you're not going to get them Channel 3 News or
100%.
Channel 1 News, right?
100%. And that the speed in which you create content is really important as well. So, we were creating about 16 videos a month.
Yep. Why was that important? And I understand why it's important, but why, say, for a business owner listening, why is speed of creating content important?
The speed's important because it allows you to stay relevant to the conversation that's happening around your industry.
Yep.
That's the main one. Viewers of content and of general consumers now, they are just a bit more subconsciously attuned to kind of what's happening around them.
Yeah.
So you get a gut feel when you watch an ad or you see a video and go, oh, that's a bit old. They're a bit late to a trend or all that sort of stuff. So it's really, really important in a world now where content is just so democratized. We need to be up to date with our content because that is going to allow us to really speak to the audiences and meet them where they are.
Entering the conversation they're already having, right?
Big time.
Big
time.
And being, doing it in a way, especially if you're creating content at speed, you can keep up with that.
Yep. Yep. And as an example of as an anti-example of that, we're a full service creative agency that does this for other businesses. We don't do it for ourselves.
Yeah.
And for the main reason is we don't have the time to have a really active social media presence.
Yep.
And that's a conscious business decision that we made, and we do marketing in other different ways.
Nice.
But it's always kind of quite funny. You talk about all these things and you do it for other people, but it's about having the self-awareness to understand as a business, can you commit? And obviously budget and resource is one thing, but can you actually commit the bandwidth to doing it?
Yeah.
We always talk about when we meet up with potential new clients and they want to do an ongoing social media piece with us, we go, okay. And I literally say to them, are you ready to jump on the hamster wheel?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because once you're on that hamster wheel, you can't stop. It's going to be detrimental.
Well, and the reason is relevancy, right? Because
100%.
if you stop it, you become less relevant. But the flip side to that, if your competitors aren't there and you are there, guess who becomes relevant?
100%.
It's because that's where where the eyeballs are, right?
Yep.
So speed of content. What else have you learned over the years when it comes to creating content?
What else have I learned?
Well, let's just go back to that. Ready to be on the hamster wheel. What do you think? Are most businesses get up for that?
They probably don't have the internal infrastructure for that. So one thing that, and we've tested different models of how we can help businesses and other bits and pieces. And we've become quite clear with the type of businesses that we want to work with based on, our size of team and where we want to go as a business. But certainly there's businesses out there that want to do the stuff. And even though they might have the budget and the resource to do it, there needs to be a lot of, internal education on, how long that ROI is going to take.
Yeah.
The last thing we want to do, and particularly in New Zealand and even in Christchurch, it's such a small town.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that guy that just goes in for a quick cheeky fee and then everyone's upset.
Yeah.
And
there's plenty of that going on though.
Oh, there is, and you and I, we're certainly not part of that. And yes, we're really, really intentional. We make sure that the client knows, hey, if we're going to do something, we'd love it to be over the long term because that's where we can start seeing those results, seeing that momentum, and other bits and pieces like that.
Yeah. Content is the beautiful thing is you would have seen over the years. Content is, it can be very quick, but generally most successes come over a period of time, right? Especially from a sustained success perspective. You might, a campaign doesn't create a business. You got to keep going. You got to keep reinventing. You got to keep being top of mind for people, right? And that takes thinking. Thinking and strategy and actually making sure that you're hitting those touch points, making sure you're hitting those questions that people are asking themselves, right? So
and just being interesting as well. So I mean, I say to my clients, do you want to reach 10,000, 50,000 people and they see you for 3 seconds, or would you rather reach 100 and 200 people and they absorb everything you have to say?
Yeah. What do they say? What do they want?
They say they want the 200, but they act like they want the 50,000. And that's a cool part of the journey, right? So, and that's something that we're really interested in. We love, particularly my business partner Pete and I, we love the process of building businesses.
Yeah.
And so it's a real privilege to sit down with the businesses that we work with, whether they're startups or in corporate, and going, actually, how do we actually do this in a way that is going to make it fun and grow?
I think it's important that you get it right for the business that you're in front of too, right? Because a lot of businesses couldn't handle 50,000.
No.
They actually just need 100 really, really good.
Yeah.
And that's quality over quantity. But at the same time, a lot of people don't create content because of the 100.
Yeah.
They're worried that they're only going to get 100. But I always say to people, if I could have 100 people walk through your door today, would that be good business? Oh yeah. would 50,000 walk through that? No,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like, you know, sometimes you actually have to explain it to people.
Yeah.
Because 100 qualified people, you know, how many of those do you need?
Yeah.
Like to make a good business. And that's the mindset you kind of have to have when creating content for particular businesses. You know, for some businesses, yeah, they need the 50,000, right?
Yeah. And that's a really interesting point. I mean, so for the last couple of years, I've been really lucky to speak at the New Zealand Gift Fair Expo. So, you know, a lot of small business owners who, you know, it's basically like a mom and pa sort of situation. They might have one more employee.
Yep.
Obviously been a real tough time for retail over the past sort of 5 years. And so, you know, going in, speaking to them about different strategies, how they can, you know, in a really cost effective way, utilize social media and other bits and pieces. But the one thing that I've noticed over time, and the message that I'm saying to them is, I think we're getting to a point now where you almost need to reassess who your customers actually are.
Yep.
And sometimes that's, you could be doing all the right things marketing wise, but if your product is wrong, or your product's not relevant anymore, what's the point of your marketing? And so, you know,
Give me an example of that, of maybe someone you've been talking to about.
Yeah. So again, these small gift sort of owners and stuff like that will have gift shops all around. You know, pick a gift shop all around New Zealand. You know, they're sort of buying from similar places for similar things. But the target markets are, you know, predominantly that kind of over 65 sort of market. Nothing wrong with that market, by the way. All good. But where are those opportunities? And the opportunity that I see, particularly in retail, have you heard of dinks before? Double income, no kids. Maybe a dink wad, double income, no kids with a dog. So you've got those guys, right? And then you've got another demographic called Henry, which is high income earner, not rich yet. And those two are really interesting parts of New Zealand. And you think about that, the median age of a New Zealander is 37 years old. And you compare the 37-year-old in 2026 compared to 2006. Those are very different people. More than not, they're probably still renting. Or they might be on their first home. They might not have kids yet. So they actually have more money to spend. Because if you're in Auckland and you're still renting in your mid-30s, you're probably on about $120 per person. So you're nearly a $300,000 household. Where is that money going?
It's going somewhere.
It's going somewhere. We noticed that after lockdown that the bottomless brunches were actually doing really, really well after the COVID lockdown. And who was going there? It was the younger people. And so, you know, my message to these gift shop owners is, how do you need to change to bring in products or bring in brands that these demographics are going to buy?
So that, because it relates to them, right? And it
100%.
makes them more relevant. Because they're not going to look at you if you're not relevant, right?
Big time.
They're going to be going elsewhere. So yeah, it's a good point.
You know, like back then there was one gift shop, for example, they were taking in a range of like, what's what I'm looking for? I've lost brain fart. Dish towels. Really, really basic, but they were beautifully made.
Nice.
You know, the right sort of like beige colors and that whole kind of pastel situation going on that was really, really relevant at the time.
A brand that's done that really well is Moana Road.
So they go to the gift fair all the time.
I've seen them grow over the years. Like, so, you know, they went into sunglasses and now they have gone into a whole bunch of products.
Big time.
And they are definitely targeting that younger, you know, that 37 plus market, you know, and it's interesting how they've done it. Like, and they have more and more products coming out.
100%. Like I'm real bullish on that 30 to 45-year-old market. I think that's a really strategic place to be if you're trying to look, a business is looking for you know, new customers, new clients.
Tech savvy, looking for experiences, have money to spend on.
100%. I mean, look at the Stanley Cups, for example. That makes no sense.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like, it's...
So for people listening, a Stanley Cup, if you haven't seen one of them, there's probably 5 of them out there in that office, to be fair. Massive, massive cups for drinking hot drinks, water.
100%.
Yeah.
But, you know, my father-in-law, he's a builder, and he's had a old school Stanley Cup from YDN by his side for a couple of decades. And all they do, they made it pink, and now it's all pink and brown and whatever, and it's popular. So yeah, fascinating.
I guess that's the understanding, or you know, talking to those markets, understanding those markets. So when you are creating content, you know what they want. You know some of their pain points. You know what they're looking for. And I guess How does a business owner get that kind of knowledge?
The first step I've noticed with the clients that we work with and like the business owners, we've got really strong relationships. They're genuinely open to the advice to listen.
Yep.
Effectively we're coming in as consultants, right?
Yeah.
And I might not have all the answers, but there's certainly people on my team that will probably have an opinion and their expertise. And the business that we find that we have a really strong relationship with is when there's a really good back and forth and exchange of ideas.
Yeah. We have the same, As soon as there's a partnership, you're off to the
100%.
races. Their knowledge, our knowledge, our research, their feedback.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
We're away.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
So that's what we find. If business owners are looking to engage an external outfit or even bring an internal resource to create content, really work in partnership with the expertise. And that's certainly not me saying go all in and just hand it off to them and don't care about it, don't look at it, but genuinely work in partnership with your creative partner, whether that's internal or external.
Yeah.
Because that's where the real magic happens, right? Like we, as an aside, as far as the creative process goes, we are still very much a 5-day a week in the office agency, no real working from home or anything like that. And the main reason is because, if you have a really interesting idea or a thought, you need to be in that moment to turn around to, your strategist next to you or the creative and go, hey, I've just thought about this. What do you think?
Yeah, nice.
Instead of, hey man, I just had an idea. Can we jump on a call real quick? Oh yeah, bro, send me a link. And then you lose that pace. And so
true.
you need that back and forth in the creative process. And that's why, it's really important to have that, again, care.
I like it. Why did you see video, and what was about video that you just thought this is where it's going? Because honestly, that's this sheep I've been singing on for the last, I don't know how many years. Video. Where did you see it and why did you see it?
At the most cynical level, I remember listening to, I think they called it Meta 8 or Facebook 8, their conference back in whatever that was.
Yeah.
And I remember back then they were saying
F8, I think.
F8, yeah. And they were saying that by 2020, 80% of social media will be video. And I took that to heart.
Yeah.
And then started reflecting on how I utilize my own time of content and realized a lot of it is actually really, really video based. So just started to pay attention to that a bit more. And I guess at the time, my strength was probably more in videography than it was photography. So kind of lent to my strength of what I could offer the market. Which was video services.
And were you using were you using really high end cameras and stuff, or were you shooting on an iPhone? What were you doing?
No, so I started on an iPhone with there's actually there's an old social media post I saw back in the day. And I think I wrote, your level of tech is only half the equation. At the time, it started with iPhone and iMovie, and then I moved to a Micro Four Thirds Olympus camera with what's it called? Not Premiere Pro, the Apple version of it. Can't remember the name of that now. Final Cut. And then when I got myself off the tools and hired people, we moved to the full Adobe suite. So started using Sony cameras and Premiere Pro, and so now we're very much in that spot now. But again, going back to these gift store owners, I was saying your iPhone now in 2026 has got amazing video capability.
Incredible.
You just got to use it and just commit to it. And now with TikTok and CapCut and all these other apps out there, you don't necessarily need to be proficient on Adobe Suite to get content out there.
I remember early on, we were using different cameras, and then the iPhone, obviously, that was the quality, and then we kind of pivoted and brought in videography. But it was really only to legitimize the fact that we were doing video, and it was like we had this equipment so people would take it seriously. But one of the things we did realize was it actually didn't matter after a period of time whether we were shooting on an iPhone. Well, I guess it mattered where the video was going. But for a lot of people, the more and more they got confident in front of a camera, it didn't really matter whether it was an iPhone or, and in fact, the bigger the camera, the more nervous people are getting, right?
Yeah, big time.
So now we have full suite, but a lot of, we have brand videos getting created, but we also have, short form video content being created on on iPhones, which is, I think is perfect, because a lot of times business owner will go, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. Well, now everyone's got everything, right? It's about being resourceful now, and getting out of people's way, which is exciting. So yeah, video is definitely. Can you see it going away?
Hard to tell. I mean, I still think like brand is going to be really, really important. And there's something about brand narrative that is really, still kind of sticks with people and that storytelling. I mean, you only have to look at the Super Bowl yesterday. And, most of the ads were, Anthropic, OpenAI, they are doing video brand ads on broadcast TV.
Yeah. Oh,
So
totally.
if that doesn't say anything about the power of brand still right now where we are in 2026.
Yeah.
I think that's important. And at the end of the day, as content gets democratized with the ability for AI content to be created, the only way you're really going to have trust with your customers is actually having that brand affinity.
Yeah.
So I think businesses have to work a lot harder to actually build that brand affinity with their customers.
What are some of the things that you would say to a business owner that they have to be doing to do that? Like what are some of your go-tos?
So a real fun sort of quick sort of tip that I've had, particularly with up and coming businesses, small businesses in particular. They'll be starting a Instagram page from scratch. So obviously building that following and that content's obviously a bit harder these days than it was back in the day. So one thing I've said to them is, at the moment now, when you're starting a business or a brand, you're not just competing with other businesses, you're actually also competing with the notion of, is this business real?
Yeah. Yeah. True.
That's a really big one, particularly if you're a new brand online and you've got like no followers. And it's really hard to legitimize yourself quickly.
Yeah.
And so the one thing I'm telling to a lot of business owners in New Zealand anyway is do as many local collaborations as possible.
Yep.
Give people clues to show that you are part of their community or a community in general.
Yeah.
So if that means partnering with a local creator with 5,000 followers, in my mind, that's probably more important than the 500,000 because you're showing that legitimacy to your area.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more cost effective. And I'd be pinning that post at the top of your Instagram profile, your TikTok profile, so that when the first thing people see is a local creator they might have run into, or you've developed a piece of content in front of a really iconic spot in your town, that stuff's really, really important going forward because fake content, fake businesses, scams are only going to get more and more prevalent.
I think that's a question that people are going to ask. Is this business real?
Yep.
And so how many ways can you prove that you are real?
Yeah.
And I think that's, that is when people are looking online and, they need a job done or they need some plumbing done or, like who actually can do this job? Because, and who do I want to do this job as well? Right. And I think that's really important. Like being real. I think that's the thing. I think, because people will get, I know there'll be some brands out there that'll get lazy with AI because they can just see it as, oh, we'll use AI to create everything. I think it's going to be the opposite that wins, actually.
Yeah.
I think people that are real, and are prepared to step into their creativeness and their strategicness, will actually win in the market.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's and it might not to add on to that. It might not necessarily be they're not using AI as much as another business, or they're not using it at all. It's just how they're using it.
How they're using it, totally.
Which is really important. I mean, last year we released a brand campaign for a local client, and the whole video was made video generated.
Yep.
And the main reason for that was, one, the client was bold, and they had a limited budget, but we had a really crazy idea.
Yeah.
And we thought, wow, we could probably generate this. We've never kind of done it before, but let's give it a go. And it worked out perfectly.
But look, there's lots of those kind of ads on TV that are doing that anyway, right? That have the creative idea behind it. And I think that's the key to it, right? You could use the platform to create the video, but it's the creativeness behind it is where the rubber meets the road, right? And you have to look at Stickman from Pack and Save. Like that's pretty for their brand, and the way they create those ads leans into the whole thesis and the philosophy behind that, right? Hey, it's 2026. You're listening to this podcast and you've probably heard of AI. So here's what I want you to do. We've created a free playbook that'll actually help you with AI and help your business get recommended. So all you need to do is go to the show notes or the link that's in this video, and I'll send you this playbook for free. What's your take on AI? Then let's go into AI, because obviously, you spend time and effort creating something for a client on it. Where do you see the whole thing?
I mean, we use it actively in different parts of the business. I remember it was a couple of years ago, we were doing a piece of work for a client, and they had a really intricate design on a piece of clothing.
Yep.
And then they were swapping out a logo, and they need that logo swapped out within 24 hours.
Yep.
So for us to go on Photoshop to get rid of the logo and put on the new logo within the short time frame that we had was literally near on impossible.
Yeah.
So I said to the guys, hey, why don't you just, use AI to get rid of the other logo and get it to fill the gaps of what it thinks that pattern looks like.
Yeah.
And then slap the logo on top of it. And at the time we were like, no way this is going to work. And it did.
Yeah.
And it was a big one. The client didn't, we told the client this is what we think of doing. They go, yeah, go for it, because you're going to save us time and money. And we tried it. It was a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
It took us 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that, for me, that was a really good example of using AI. Obviously, this video campaign that I just sort of mentioned before. But ultimately, AI is just a tool for us.
Yeah.
It's not, we're not, dropping jobs in our creative team because of it.
Yeah.
If it's going to allow them to do more, that's great. But ultimately, again, if I put on a real cynical view of AI, and I think why agencies and client services will still be relevant, because at its most fundamental level, if something goes wrong, where does liability sit?
Yeah.
The liability will still sit with the human that used AI.
Yeah.
And so you need to be really good at using it, and you need to know when it's appropriate to use it.
Yeah.
And it's just finding that balance. And I don't think as a society we've settled on where AI is going to be in the mix yet. But it's ever evolving. So we're certainly not shy of it.
No.
But, I'd say a lot of, if I think about the campaigns that we have coming forward, there might be a little bit of AI used to create efficiencies in terms of post-production and other bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But by and large, our production team's as busy as ever been.
Yeah. I think that's important, understanding where it plays the role for you. And I know for us, we had a situation yesterday, taking some photos in a bar, and came back, and one of the photos, someone was doing something they shouldn't have been. All of a sudden, using AI, boom, 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 all sorted.
Yep.
And to put that into context, maybe that would have taken someone 15 minutes.
Yeah.
By the time but now that takes maybe a minute.
Yeah.
And that's like little gains like that start to add up. And I know that's something that we've done over probably the last 3 years with AI, is really started, where can we get those gains? Where can we get productivity? Where can it do the heavy lifting for us in a number of areas?
Yeah.
Don't see it really replacing people at all.
No.
I see people becoming more efficient with it. And that's part of this year for us is we have a big section on innovation. And in putting people, I guess, in charge of their own future when it comes to innovation. I do think we're at a crossroads though with AI. I think AI probably hasn't panned out as well as some companies, especially in ones investing in AI. And I was listening to, I'm quite a big investor in tech and other areas, and I was listening to a guy, and he said if someone said they're spending $400 million on AI technology in 2025, the share price would have shot up. If they're saying that in 2026, people are going, "Oh, you're spending debt to invest." People are starting to get nervous, and we're probably at a crossroads where someone's going to start to take real ownership of this AI area, and the businesses that are not quite there's probably going to be some people falling over. And I even see yesterday, I think it was a New Zealand company, 225 million invested in it with AI, going down the gurgler, because I think the technology is not quite there of where people thought it was going to be, and the amount of money to put in to make it You know, I was doing a guy the other day that I think they were spending 100 and something odd grand on a CRM back with AI, and I was like, we've actually got something that we're working on that's probably cost you maybe 5 grand,
Yeah.
you know, and I think people are getting sold some stuff in the marketplace that I think is, you know, over engineered, or actually it's just a CRM.ai.
Yeah, and
You
that's
know?
it's a buzzword now, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you don't have
Yeah.
AI integration, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're behind
Yeah.
behind the curve, and
And
just staying calm, isn't it?
yeah, and I think people have probably getting sold some stuff that in all reality, and I think you'll start to see probably in this year, you'll start to see a few AI companies falling over. And I think that's a good thing, because there is some crap out there.
Yeah.
And some of these big tech players, you know, they are going to have to put more money in than they originally thought. You know, I guess it's like anything in business; it always
Well,
takes more money and more time.
you know, one thing that we really enjoy doing, particularly Pete and I, is vibe coding.
Yep.
And you know, that's certainly not a service we're selling, because, gosh, like, the code behind all that is just messy as. But I mean, the little apps that we've created for our internal use
Yeah. Nice.
has been really, really cool.
Yeah.
And you know, that's something I would
What's an
encourage.
example? Like what could a business owner do?
A timesheet.
Yep.
We've created a really, really cool. Well, so I can't take any of the credit.
Yeah.
Pete has created a really, really cool timesheet. And while that sounds like you should just probably download one off, you know, the App Store or whatever,
Yeah.
the way that we kind of have set up our business and the way we do time is relatively unique to us, where there's probably no scalable app out there. And, you know, before Replit and all that sort of stuff, we were using other things and we're kind of like piecemealing it.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, Pete's been sort of half a day, started figuring it out, and we went, oh, shit, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's been really cool for us as a business. And that's something that we've really enjoyed about AI to use internally. And again, that makes it more efficient for us.
Yeah.
So we can do the things that actually keep the business
Yeah.
going forward.
How cool is that though? Like, you know, there's software out there that can help you do all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff now, right? And you don't actually have to be a coder.
No.
So if you've got an idea, you could, you know, definitely test it and create a minimal viable product as well. Like
big time.
I think that's the coolest part about some of the things I've started to see as well, was like, you know, we've now working on an AI, and it's Alice. It's AI assist, but Alice is the part where if we miss a phone call, Alice will talk to you. And we've trained her on all the data and stuff, and it's been really interesting, like having conversations with Alice, because Alice is real smart.
Yeah.
You know, and like we've got it now so that it actually, but it's very singular in what we want it to do. We want it to, if someone doesn't answer the call, we'll just book in a call. You know, so it always comes back to it, but it's just a really good use of technology. Could we call it AI, or is it just really a phone answering system? You know, like it's real, you know, and
Such
then
a big spectrum, mate.
yeah.
Yeah.
And saying that, you can ask it pretty much any question on digital influence, and it will answer. You know, it's pretty cool. But at the end of the day, we tell people, if you call, I'm Alice the AI. My job is to give you some information, but generally to book a call. Do you want to book a call now? And then if someone says, "Oh no, actually I want to know more about digital influence," that'll talk and you know, on the phone, and it's actually pretty interactive.
That's cool.
But at the same time, you know, like, do I see that replacing someone? No. You know, like it's just another tool in the toolbox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time. No, it's really, really exciting. But
Crazy time we live in though, right?
it is. And that's the one thing that we say to our clients as well. It's like, look, AI is fun, but we just gotta stay calm.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, is our job as marketers and, you know, advertising, we can't succumb to being on trend all the time. We have to be timeless of how we do things.
Yeah.
And that applies to the platforms that you use. So I mean, when I started Antony Mates, obviously we were all in on Facebook, and I don't think it was called Meta back then. I think it was still Facebook.
No, I mean Facebook, yeah.
And Instagram. And I remember we were doing a couple of political campaigns way back. And I remember saying to one of the campaign managers, you know, in 2020, we don't know if Facebook's still going to be the relevant place to be.
Yeah.
And, you know, then TikTok comes up out of nowhere, and that's added to the mix. It didn't replace, just added.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing going forward. So, you know, who knows what platform is going to be? Who knows what shape social media is going to take?
Yeah.
You know, are we going to be video first? Is there going to be a new sort of device that's actually audio, or is it kind of something that's visually happening up here? I'm looking at my eyes right now.
Seriously, I tried those in Miami last year, and I gave the glasses a full run, and they were pretty good. Like, it was, I would have thought they were too heavy and stuff, and then the girl showed me a couple of different versions of them, and man, I just thought, I was kind of like, oh nah, this won't be a thing.
Yeah.
And I walked away going, man, this could be a thing, like Ray-Bans or Oakleys.
Yeah.
This what the technology in here could really be a thing.
Yeah.
And it made me kind of, I guess, made me open up, and then obviously some of the designers that used to work at Apple and stuff, and the pendulums they're creating and things like that. There's, who knows what we're going to be doing, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the point to business owners. You don't know, but what you do know is getting really clear on who your customers.
Yeah.
Where they are, what they have to, what problems that you solve, what is it that you've got that they'd want? Because lots of times marketing, and I think this is why people come to us, is marketing's seen as a bit of a different language, right? And it's like, it's kind of like that law was a different language, marketing is a different language, and lots of business owners, they don't really understand it. And to be fair, I don't think it's their job to understand it,
No.
Their job is to be good at what they're doing. What are some of the campaigns that you're real proud of that you've seen, that you've been doing?
Yeah, we've been doing a big campaign that we were pretty proud of. Was last year we got to work across Super Rugby and Classic Sportswear.
Oh, cool.
So we looked after them as they launched. So they signed a deal with all the Super Rugby teams in New Zealand.
Yep.
And took over Adidas as the jersey supplier.
Oh, wow.
So
what was it? Classic
Sportswear.
Oh, cool.
So we worked with them for 2 years, launched them in New Zealand in 2000 and, what are we now, 24. And then in 25, they had a really cool partnership with Marvel.
Nice. Oh, yeah, that was cool.
That was real cool. So to be able to work with that sort of scale of brand was pretty sick.
Yeah, yeah.
And the type of TVC that we got to create for that was pretty awesome.
How did those kind of deals get done? Like, is it like those people, obviously Classic Sportswear had a vision for that?
Yeah.
And then wanted to bring it in, and like, so obviously to do a deal with Marvel and the rights to that is pretty hefty.
Yeah, I can only imagine how, I mean, the intricacies of that contract. But I think fundamentally what it came down to, rugby recognised, and to be fair, Rugby Union in South Africa did it beforehand, and the NRL's done it beforehand.
Got you.
In similar ways, but it's actually, how do you reach new audiences?
Yeah.
And rugby realised that actually, the family audience is really important to them.
Yeah.
And so for Kids Round, they decided, let's actually get superheroes involved.
Yeah.
And so that was really, really cool to be part of that process. And it was literally our first week back for 2025. The team was flown up to Auckland, working with all the Super Rugby clubs and filming that TVC, which was really, really cool. So yeah, really proud of that. And a lot of other cool things along the way, like obviously video is one thing. One other piece of work that we're really proud of is a piece of work called Moka Uri, which is from an organization called Tokana Taraki, which is part of Ngāi Tahu.
Yep. And
basically they were creating a strategy and a vision towards what 2050 looked like for the iwi.
Oh, wow.
And they did all the work and all the research, and they came to us and said, how would you present this visually?
That's cool.
So we created a really, really cool printed book, which we had 4 different, I guess, visual identities for the 4 different scenarios of what their future could look like.
Cool.
So for our graphic design team, really awesome to, in a world that was so digital first, get back into, making a printed book.
That's awesome.
And then turning that into a website and building a brand for that. That was pretty special and quite unique.
One cool campaign I've seen you guys work on is Shenanigans. How good?
Yeah, how good?
Like, that's awesome.
That was cool. That was really rewarding. And again, what a cool story, Ali, I'm sure listeners hopefully they've listened to the Ali podcast with you. But young person with a great idea, and fundamentally want to go old school with it.
And we need more of that. We need more of that in New Zealand, right? Like young people, having a go, but going, like, one other thing I loved about her, she listened, and went old school with it, made a game, and now has made another game, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. And yeah, again, for our team, I mean, it's pretty cool for me as the sort of the the founder of a creative agency to say, I don't think there's many agencies in New Zealand that are designing board games.
No.
And so to be able to do that in Otatahi Christchurch, pretty damn cool.
So so good.
Yeah.
Where do you see the future of creative going? Like I want to talk a wee bit about AI, but where do you see, if you fast forward, say 5, 10 years, if I was at university and I was studying marketing, where should I be looking?
Yeah, really cool question. And we're going through a bit of a hiring process at the moment. So this is right up front with what I'm doing. We need people to think, not necessarily, obviously creatively is really important, but think practically. I think, the best graduates that we've seen come out of university are the ones that are willing to, pull up their sleeves and just problem solve.
Yeah.
And problem solving doesn't necessarily mean using the academic knowledge that you've gained at university.
Yep.
It's actually looking at the problem in front of you and going, okay, how am I going to solve this?
Nice.
And, for us, I don't think I've ever looked at a student's transcript when I've hired them. And I don't think a lot of business owners do these days. You look at a person and go, do you have the general aptitude and the curiosity to solve problems?
Yeah.
We can kind of teach you the rest.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be the really important thing for marketers going through, like, and also I'll put marketing students on notice. I'm not necessarily looking for a marketing degree out of a marketing grad.
No.
I mean, I certainly wasn't one.
No, me neither.
But I want people who can really think and look at a problem and diagnose it and go, actually, how am I going to solve this problem?
Yeah. I think being proactive is a real skill. Like
so much.
If you're going to an employer and you're going for an interview, be proactive. And I always say when I do seminars, I want to give you a part-time role, and everyone's like, oh no, I'm busy, I don't want a part-time role. But I'm like, this is the part-time role you need to have. You need to be a part-time role as a marketer, right? Whatever you're doing. And they're like, why is that? And I was like, because you need to be curious. If you're curious about, if you start asking why, how, who, you start to look at things from a different lens. And I think that's really, really important, especially if you're fresh out of uni and you're looking for jobs. You've got to be proactive. You've got to be curious. Don't turn up to an interview or anything and just have no questions and have no, I've got a bunch of ideas. How many people have you ever had in interviews just pull out a bunch of ideas? Like, sorry, but you're hired. Because no one does that, right?
No, 100%. I mean, I would just, even small things, AI has obviously made writing cover letters and stuff really, really easy. And by and large, I think I can tell an AI cover letter when I see it.
Yeah. No.
And to a degree, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. But what I do have a problem is the first letters of the letter.
Yeah.
Dear hiring manager.
Yeah.
Hello, Antony Mates. Because that's when I know you haven't taken the time to go to the website. I'm the only person on our website.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have a full team bio. That I'm the only one on the contact page. It says founding partner. It's not hard to take 5 seconds to address me.
Yeah.
Not out of respect, but just it shows me that you've done the work.
It shows them in their work.
So that's
because look, how you do anything is how you do everything.
100%.
Right? So if you're going to do this, I'm going to know that you're going to shortcut when you get in here.
Yeah.
And one thing I always find interesting is people really have and it's not so much, it depends on what your role you hire. We've hired recently, but and that was pretty good. But if we've hire a more technical role, people really overstate what they've done because of AI. They've just written and all that, and all these things. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know what that was. This person's too overqualified.
Yeah, 100%. And even small things again, when we try our best to update our website as much as possible, but we've got some old case studies on there.
Yep.
And I can tell the people who have actually looked at our previous work because they've been on LinkedIn and seen our latest posts.
Yeah.
Versus the ones that are quoting, old case studies from years ago. That was probably an AI pool.
Yeah.
Really, really fascinating stuff. So I mean, I don't mind people using AI, but you got to back it up with your humanness. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So being curious is a massive one, and looking to be proactive to help solve problems. Because and why is that important to you?
Because I fundamentally enjoy problem solving.
Yep.
And I want to build a business where I get to work with people that enjoy doing the same thing.
Nice.
That's literally what it comes down to. I mean, how for me, I'm so grateful to be 8 years into this journey.
Yeah.
To have a business that survived and grown and marketing over the crazy period that we've had. It all just comes down to having a good group of people that want to do good work for other people. I see it as a privilege, not a right, to be a business owner.
Hey,
and
good.
Want to just keep doing that with awesome people.
Where did you get your mindset? Like, how did you grow that? Because, that's 8 years in business and having that sort of philosophy, where did that come from for you?
Probably my parents. So my old man is a GP.
Yep.
And then my mum was a teacher, but now she's the practice manager. They have a practice up in Auckland. So they, immigrated to New Zealand 35 years ago.
Yep.
So, we are the typical immigrants, the story that comes to New Zealand, wants to do well, works hard, but also really got amongst our local community.
Nice.
And so seeing the impact the mum and dad made, in a primary healthcare context, has been really, really cool, and just kind of learning from their experience about how they do things. I'd be calling, my first year, I'd be calling mum about, my 2-monthly GST and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah. That's cool though.
yeah, big role models.
Yeah, big role models.
In that sense, which is really, really cool. So again, it wasn't study. It was just, luckily being around some pretty cool people.
Yeah.
And,
You're well connected in Christchurch now too, right? You definitely know a lot of people. You are connected. You got a good reputation. Obviously, you worked hard on that. What are some of the things that you've done over the years to really foster that?
Drink beer and do a lot of karaoke, like straight. Like honestly, it's just the words that we've been using this whole time is just like being curious, and not actually being curious to make money, but to hang out with people, solve people's problem, actually be a mate. Like we're called Antony Mates for a reason. It's just actually you take those values of mateship, of friendship. Those are the values we want to bring into all the relationships that we're part of.
Yeah.
So honestly, man, like all I've been doing is just actually just want to be really curious about other people and understand their story and be part of their story and kind of hang out.
And that brings it back to the whole philosophy about caring, right? And being curious enough to find out, what is it they're trying to achieve? And hey, if we can use our skills to be part of that, how cool is that? Like I think that's a real win-win, and look, that's the reason you've been going 8 years, right? Because if you were trying to shortcut that process, you just wouldn't matter. People, that's what I love about like real good businesses who have really good relationships. They you look around their clients and their customers and you see something really consistent. They deal with good customers, good people. You see some agencies around and they've got people that have jumped from here to here to here to here. And it's like you can just tell that, they are used to not probably caring as much as the other ones. So I think it's really cool that to hear that. May I put you on the spot because we've been going for nearly an hour.
No, good mate, hit me.
So okay, I could go two ways here, but I'm just going to go this way because I think I'll add more value. Let's go to that young person. Let's go to the young person who is looking for a job, because that's one of the things. Everyone listening to this could share this just to help out another young person. Because look, I don't know about you, but you just said you've been hiring. We've been hiring. What are 5 things young people need to do to help themselves get in front of the queue, to get an interview, to get a job? Because honestly, we probably would have had for the last role probably 80 people apply. I've got a job going out this week. I'll have 100 people apply for this one coming out. What's it gonna take for people to get into your office? Because I think young people are struggling with this.
I don't know how to put this succinctly, but if you run with me for a second, the rules in which you were told to apply for a job no longer matter.
No,
No
100%.
longer matter.
Whatever they taught you at school
Does not matter.
does not matter.
No, not at all. I'd be saying to a young person, get in touch with me. And actually, I had this last week. I had a 18-year-old reach out just via email, and I I used to be pretty slack with emails, but then I listened to the Greg Foran Between Two Beers podcast and realized that he responds to every email. I thought, well, bloody hell, Greg Foran can do it, then I have no excuse at all. So that's been my mission for this year. So this young person sort of emailed me through, and I read his email. And what I liked about his email straight away is he built some sort of rapport connection really, really quickly.
Yep.
Which means he did a bit of background work to show me that, one, it wasn't a scam email.
Yeah, true.
And actually built some sort of rapport. Which was number one. And then number two, the only ask from that point was, hey, I just want to learn more. What can I do?
Yeah, what can I do?
And then, we'll book the time to go out for a coffee. And then from there, who knows what will come of it?
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really important, right? It's, the amount of people that I've hired off season, if that makes sense.
Yep.
There's so many people that I've met through an interview process and they haven't got through for whatever reason. But then when we need someone coming up in the next little while, they've made a good impression on me, I'll call them back before even going to putting something on Seek.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And so that's been a good one for me. We've had people come up to us and want to do a day or two of work experience. So, it's not like they're saying, I'll work with you for free for a God knows how long period of time. It's just to come in, see what our process is like.
Yep.
And we build that connection. And so when we think of an opportunity, they're always at top of mind.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just, if there's an official job out there, great. Like, obviously apply for it. Make sure your cover letter is genuinely authentic.
Yeah.
I always say to people, if I've got a job up on Seek and you've applied on Seek, that's great. But what's stopping you from actually sending me an email personally?
Totally.
Again, my email address is on my website.
Yeah.
My phone number is on my
even
website.
drop in.
Yeah.
Anyone who drops in gets an interview.
Yeah, basically.
Like, that's
100%.
one of the rules we have.
100%.
Doors locked though.
But like seriously, it's
Yeah.
because it just shows me that you're curious.
You're curious.
You
You're
want
proactive.
You're proactive.
Yeah, you're not scared.
Yeah.
Probably bricking it, but you're not.
100%. Yeah. Coming early. Like, why when you are coming to me 2 months before graduating, so is everybody else.
Yeah, totally.
The ones who've come up to me at the start of the year going, hey man, I'm graduating in 18 months time or in a year's time.
What do I need to do?
What do I need to do? Because everyone's what I need to do is very different, right?
Yeah.
My business is into your business, is different from another business. It's not cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And I think recruitment tries to make it as cookie cutter as possible.
Yeah.
And particularly in our industries, it's got to be, there's nuance.
Yep. I like this.
So yeah, to the young person out there, just kind of like, don't follow the rules, like just actually follow your gut. And if you think the right thing to do is because you haven't heard from us in a couple of days because you've applied online on Seek, pick up the phone and call me. Because the worst thing I want to say is no, but hey, at least we've had a phone call and I've remembered you compared to other people that all applied, right?
Yeah. Yeah, especially when the context of how many CVs you get, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the key things for me too is like, if you want to work in a creative agency and a marketing agency and you find out all about them, what is it that you're bringing to the market? And what are you bringing to the market, right? Your degree is not enough, right?
No.
I agree is great, but it's not enough. So what else are you doing?
Yep.
Like if you want to be a professional, be a professional. Like they don't turn up to the Super Bowl and not have trained and been and trained in something, The amount of times people are like, what other training you I haven't done anything yet.
Yeah.
I'm like, do something. Like tell me, I've watched 100 hours of something on YouTube or I've watched 20 hours. It doesn't have to be 100. Yeah. But tell me that you're doing something to further your education, to show me that you're a professional.
100%. And like draw parallels as well, right? Like, I mean, going on a bit of a tangent, but I've got a real sort of passion and joy for governance.
Yep.
So I really want to be on a couple of boards as part of my way of personal development. So I'm lucky to be on a few now. But I remember I thought it'd be really hard to get that first one because I've got no experience.
Yep.
And then a really good mate of mine who's a professional board director said to me, you've got board experience. I'm like, the hell are you talking about? And he goes, when you're the president of the Musical Theatre Society, I'm like, oh, that's a club on campus. And he goes, but what you were doing was governance.
True.
So take those parallels and draw them into your, into any sort of governance role you're applying for. And the same applies to marketing, right? Like I really genuinely feel for account executives and account managers.
Yep.
Because you don't learn that stuff.
No.
at uni. There's no academic paper on how to be an account manager or an account executive.
Yeah.
How to be a suit. That's not a thing. That's just something that you learn from experiences of interacting with people. And so, you know, if you want to be an account manager or an account executive for a creative agency, you know, I love people that work in sales or in hospitality. Because they've dealt with uncomfortable conversations, situations.
Yeah.
You know, I love people who have done customer service, call centers, because you know how to write a good email. You know, you can, and
all those little things.
All those little things. That's to me so much more important than, you know, kind of what your degree is. Obviously, if you want to do digital marketing or videography, there's technical skills that you need. That's fine. But I don't like it when people say, "Oh, I've got no experience." I'm like, if you genuinely have no experience, then you're screwed. But there are people, we've all got our life experiences we can pull from.
You got to sell it.
100%. Yeah. You got to be the biggest advocate for yourself.
Yeah. So knowing that, that's, you know, I think a really clear place to start. So if you've got a young person looking for a job, you know, maybe share this with them, because I think they need to hear it from people that are hiring. Because I just see that people need help. Young people need help. And I think the old rules that they're getting taught are broken.
I genuinely feel for them, because they're earnest in their approach, but the approach is just it's too saturated.
Yeah, exactly. It is too saturated. Hey man, it's been a fascinating conversation.
Thank you.
Where can people get a hold of you?
Yes, you can get a hold of me. Probably the easiest way to find my details is at www.antonymates.com. My name and numbers on there. LinkedIn, Clive Antony. Always down for a yarn.
Perfect. Well, we'll put all the show notes and all your details on there. Man, I really appreciate you taking time to come in.
Thanks, bro.
We discovered a lot. And we spoke pretty quickly for, you know, an hour and a bit. We could probably talk for a couple more, but hey, we are busy people, and I know you are as well. So here's your job. Me and Anthony have been talking. Me and Clive have been talking for a while now on what it really takes, you know, to I guess market a business and to build brand strategy and to build creative and what to do, especially around video. So why don't you do your job now and share this? You know, share it with people. Share it out on LinkedIn. Share it with people on Instagram. If you see some of our short form videos come up, make sure you share them, because that's the way we can help people. So until then, go out there, take some action, and maybe create some video content. There's no excuses now. Go out there, have fun, and as always, remember to celebrate your victories.